All right. Woohoo. So we are live on Facebook and on YouTube. There we go. Okay. I don't want to be too bright and blown out. All right. Okay. Hold on. Let me turn my volume off over here. Okay. So today is a big day. Oh my gosh. So as I was trying to compile all the information I wanted to bring today, I'm realizing this might have to be in two different talks because there's just a lot of information that I want to share, but I don't want to overwhelm anybody either, because this is kind of one of those subjects where I'm parched. Okay. So, holy moly, we're talking about sugar. Sugar is sometimes can feel like it rules your life, right? Because it's so addicting. We, are just so attracted to all the sugary treats. If you ever walk into the grocery store, and you all of a sudden smell the bakery and all the good smelling stuff that just makes you want to buy everything. And right now, because of being in quarantine, I mean, goodness, I'm sure this is like the one thing that we can all agree on right now is that we're struggling with this craving for sugar, craving for carbs, overeating, binge eating, all those things, because, we go to the grocery store and we stock up, right? And sometimes maybe we'll see something that sparks our eye and we grab it, or if we accidentally go to the grocery store hungry, which I've done several times. But yeah, we stock the house with food and then it's literally staring at us 24/7 because we're home, right? And I've talked to some people that, are just like kind of lacking motivation, lacking, the urge to do anything, because it's like, well, I'm home and I got all this food staring at me, so I'm just going to eat. So the problem here is that we have control. Like, we have full control over what we choose to eat and what we don't choose to eat. So if we make foods like fruits and veggies readily available to eat, we can train our brain to grab those foods rather than like the high sugar foods like cookies or donuts or whatever you go to when it comes to your sweet treat. And we're just going to kind of dive into some challenges that people have when it comes to sugar and your sugar craving. So as you're coming in, I would love to see who's here, say hi, wave. And I would love to see, using an emoji or a GIF, what you think of when it comes to sugar, or your favorite sugary treat. Just kind of pop it in there, and I'd love to have some interaction this morning. So yeah, and it's like I said, it's one of these things that we're all kind of struggling with, this sugar craving and eating everything. And even me, like I live a low sugar, if not no sugar lifestyle, and have for a very long time. And even I am like nobody's perfect. I'm not sitting here perfect. Like, I don't eat sugar. like no, there are some times where I do get like everybody else, and I'll binge a little bit, or I'll splurge. I like to call it a splurge, not a binge. And I'm eating foods that I would normally avoid. Things like, see, I can't even really think of one. Like, my splurges are going to be different than your splurges, because I also, I'm gluten-free as well. So I don't do like normal cookies or pastries or things like that. But, gluten-free cookies, gluten-free banana bread, gluten-free, like any kind of pastry, really. I love my pastries. I love the bakery. Like, if there was a gluten-free bakery just like right here, if there is one, maybe there is and I don't even know about it, but God, I'd be in there all the time. Anyway, the point is that whether you're someone like me who is living, a relatively clean lifestyle, or if you are someone who knows that you could shift up some things in your diet, like we're all kind of experiencing this same cravings, this same like urge to just eat all the sugar, eat all the food. And even though our choices might be different, like I said, my binge eat will be different than your binge eats, the underlying reasons to why we're binge eating and why we're gravitating towards the sugar is really the same. So we're going to talk about 3 challenges that people have when it comes to sugar, and why we gravitate towards it, why we just have this innate, like it's built in our DNA to eat sugar, I feel like. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is this polarity, I like to call it, of foods. So if you're someone who eats a lot of sugary foods, this could be something that relates to you. We'll see. So polarity ultimately is just a fancy word for opposites. So when we have a polarity, it's hard and soft, light, dark, hard, or I said hard and soft, like cold and hot. Like these are just opposites, right? So when you look through this lens of polarities, when you find one thing, you're gonna find its opposite. It's a system of opposites, so to speak. So when it comes to food, there's 2 aspects here when it comes to polarity. So the first one is more of a physical aspect, and it's the types of food that you eat. So if you are a person that just like eats savory food, all the time, like you're a savory breakfast person, savory lunch, like savory snacks, like at some point, you're going to crave sugar because that is the opposite. Savory foods are contracted foods. So they make us feel like tight, like it tightens our body. Contracted foods are, meats, breads, even like stuff that's just, it's very tight, bound, contracted. So the opposite of that is like a bliss food, which is where sugar comes in. So again, if you eat a lot of contracted foods and a lot of just savory food, you are going to at some point crave the sugar because your body is just searching for that balance, right? We talk about balance a lot when it comes to our body and our gut. So like even our gut is like asking for something light and just wishing for something of bliss. So that's where the physical part of polarity comes into food. And then the second part is more of an emotional feelings kind of side of your body. So when we're trying to relax, this is where our bodies are craving that sugar. Again, contracted foods, blissful foods. So when it comes to our emotions and how our body actually feels when we eat sugar, because like I don't know about you, but like you hear the term all the time, like eating your feelings, right? Like there's an emotional underlying reason that you're just gravitating towards food. So like yesterday for me, even I started eating foods that I wasn't normally eating. Like I had made waffles last weekend for breakfast, and I still had some left. And like I felt like I was eating all day, and these waffles are just staring at me. So I was in a particularly emotionally low moment. I was home and I had some waffles. Like this is just one of those things that like our body is craving this relaxation. It's craving a break. So this is where like binging comes into play, because especially right now, we're all listening to the news. We're all, like stuck on Facebook or stuck on some sort of news outlet, and we're being inundated with all of this information that's making our anxiety go up. And when we're hyped up like this, like we're scared, we're living through fear almost. So we're in this like really contracted state. This is where our bodies are obviously craving that that relaxation. We're craving the sugar and the carbs and all the like feel good, like it feels good for a moment, but later on you realize, oh, like I shouldn't have eaten that or something. Like your gut responds in a negative way because sugar, we know, produces inflammation. And we're going to get to that here in a second. So I've seen some people pop in and out, and I'm really glad to have those of you here that are sticking with me. And if you have any questions as I go through this, please ask, because sugar is kind of one of those topics where I'm going to give you the information that I feel would be useful, but if there's something I'm not covering, please put it in the chat. And I want to see all those GIFs and emojis of what you think of when you think of sugar. Okay, so the next challenge that people have is like I was just talking about. No one wants to stop because it feels so good. Like when you eat chocolate, when you eat ice cream, when you eat maybe like a peanut butter banana sandwich. I love almond butter now, almond butter and gluten-free bread. But anyway, so like it feels so good to eat the sugar and eat the carbs and eat the sweet treats. So this is another challenge that people have. Like, why would I stop eating sugar? It makes me feel so good. Well, this is where the problem comes in, because we get put on this blood sugar roller coaster. I'm sure you've heard of that. And it just sends us up and down. And that's because when we eat foods that are high in sugar, it doesn't have the fiber and the fat and the protein in it that slow down the absorption of sugar. So when we don't have these nutrients, they kind of give us a little support, give our body support to digest properly. Our blood sugar spikes, and that affects all of the hormones in your gut that are trying to produce in order to have your body function properly. So like I said, we talk about this balance all the time in our gut flora. When we introduce a high level of sugar, our hormones are all over the place, inflammation's going up, like our body is kind of in that fight mode, like fight or flight mode, but it's in fight. So it's kind of attacking it and trying to figure out like how to use it. So the other thing that sugar does, and we talked about this hormone last week when we talked about sleep, but sugar blocks leptin. Now, raise your hand if you remember what leptin is. Leptin tells us when we're full. Leptin is that really important hormone that is like, hey, you can stop eating now. We're full, we're good. But it also tells us when we have energy that we can use. So if sugar is introduced and it blocks that hormone from producing, then we can't, for one, know when we're full. So we're just going to keep eating the sugar that we've already put into our body, and then it's not going to tell us like, hey, you have energy to go burn all this sugar off that you just ingested. So when our gut is off because of the inflammation and the sugar is blocking the leptin that can't be produced because the gut is all over the place, then this is like our balance is just like this. So the other thing that happens with sugar is that the insulin increase makes it really, really difficult for the body to access and burn the stored fat. So like when we eat sugar, we are not only, blocking that hormone that tells us we're full, and then that tells us we have energy, but we're increasing insulin, so our body can't even access the fat to burn off. And then guess what? You gain weight. And we know what weight gain leads to, all kinds of issues and diseases in your body. So when insulin is sent out when you're in this roller coaster, so like you eat sugar, you get a spike, you get insulin, and then it tries to bring your body back down into balance. It doesn't just bring it back down into balance. It doesn't bring it here. It brings it all the way down, and it dips, and then it comes back up because what are you wanting when you're down here? When your blood sugar is low, you want sugar to bring it back up to balance. But what happens is it secretes too much of the insulin up here, and then it dips way down, and then your body is like, hey, I need something here. And it's like crashing. Like, this is where the blood sugar crash comes into play. And your body is just craving more and more and more. So you're down here now on the roller coaster. You started here, you had some sugar, you went up, you had the spike, you had insulin come in here to try and bring it back down to balance, and nope, it dips it way down. Your body craves more sugar, and then it goes right back up. That's why it's called a roller coaster, because it goes down and up and down and up. And how can you expect your body to function properly, to digest, to access the fat that it needs to be burned off? Like, how can you expect to have energy if your blood sugar is going like this? You can't. You can't. You can't. So this craving that you get for the sugar, even like over here, before you get on the roller coaster, this initial craving that you have for sugar is really just your body saying, hey, I need nutrients of sorts. Something needs to be restored here. And I'm going to share, if I can, below this video, or if not, I'll share it separately. But there's a really great image I have of like swaps. So when you're craving chocolate, you're actually craving a nutrient that's in broccoli. And no, it's not going to taste the same, obviously, but you're giving your body the nutrient it needs. So it's going to provide in the way that it needs to, instead of feeding the craving, which is chocolate, and then you're getting sent on that blood sugar roller coaster, and then you're just totally off. So I saw lots of hearts and lots of likes just within that last challenge, that people find, hi Eleanor, that no one wants to eat because it tastes so good. So I'm curious what you learned out of that, that made you shoot a little heart. But anyway, Eleanor, stop. My doogies are all over the place today. Okay, so one more part of that before we move on is that when you're in this blood sugar roller coaster and you're feeding the craving, essentially, your body also, like we talked about how it can't produce hormones when it's in this space. When you're inundating it with sugar, you're inundating it with inflammation, your gut is going crazy, your biome's all over the place. Your gut can't produce the fat burning hormone called glucagon. Glucagon. Think of it as glue, because that's what it needs to burn the fat. It can't produce that hormone at the same time that your body is producing insulin. So insulin and glucagon cannot be at the same time. Eleanor, stop. So if you're eating a high sugar diet and you're consistently on this roller coaster that we already talked about, that you can't function properly, how can you expect to lose weight? How can you expect your body to process all the nutrients, digest properly? How can you expect your body to do these things that it's supposed to do if you're constantly feeding it with a substance that boosts inflammation and boosts all of these issues in your body? Like, yes, it tastes good for the moment on your tongue, and your tongue is really the culprit here because it's like, hey, I have little taste buds on my mouth and I'm going to make you crave sugar. Like, and this is where we have to kind of, we have to tell ourselves in our brain, like, this is just a craving. What does my body actually need? Which is why I'm going to share that image so that you can save it on your phone. And when you're craving something, you can go, okay, what does my body need right now? I am craving carbs. I am craving, ice cream. I am craving, like, whatever it is. There is another way that you can fuel your body in the right way and not get too caught up into these cravings. So like I said, if you eat high in sugar and you're consistently on that roller coaster, how can you expect your body to function properly? How can you expect to lose weight? How can you expect to sleep properly at night? How can you expect to really just be happy? Because if you're getting stomach issues all the time, if you're inflamed all the time, bloated, have gastric distress, this is where sugar could be the culprit. And you can't release fat to be burned. And you're, like I said, you're storing some of the sugar as fat instead of using it as energy. Because like we've said, sugar blocks that hormone that tells us, hey, we have energy to use. So I hope that makes sense. That was kind of a lot just in that last little bit. But I really wanted to make this really clear that if you are eating high in sugar and you're blocking the hormone that burns fat, you're not going to lose any weight. Does that make sense? I hope so. So, how's everybody doing? I got Facebook over here and I got YouTube over there. I hope everybody's working and still with me. So this last challenge that people have when it comes to sugar is the emotional part of it. Because sometimes it is just easier to grab ice cream, to grab chocolate, to grab anything else than to deal with the problem. We want to satisfy, like I said before, we're trying to satisfy a certain contraction in our body, whether it's stress, whether it's, stress is really the biggest one, overwhelm, lack of motivation, anything that triggers an emotional response. Sometimes it's just easier to grab that chocolate bar, to grab like anything and binge and sit on the couch and just eat it until it's all gone. So my goal here was not to sit here and judge all of you and be like, all you people that eat sugar are bad. No, that's not what I'm doing here. The purpose of this series was to open your awareness to all the things that could be affecting your gut and how important your gut is to your overall health, right? So all of this is just information. All of this is just awareness. And what are you going to do with it? That's the big question. Because information and education is nothing without action. If you don't take what I'm, influencing here, and you don't put it into an action step of sorts, then like what's the purpose, right? And you're not going to get anywhere either. So my question for you today is, after learning about the effects of sugar and how it affects our gut, what are you going to do today to support your gut and your life when it comes to sugar? Maybe it looks like going into your kitchen and clearing out some clutter. Maybe it's looking at food labels and seeing how many grams of sugar your foods are, or even what sugar is in those foods, because we have there's a lot of controversy when it comes to sugar. And really, like when I tell people that I live a sugar-free lifestyle, what that means is I live an artificial sugar-free lifestyle. So like fruit is great for you, but it's because it has all the fiber and it has water and it has nutrients that artificial sugar doesn't have. And artificial sugars can affect you, your body composition, your brain. It affects you in a different way than sugar from fruit does. So the way your body digests it is different. And where's my other page? I had another page of notes here. I knew I was missing something. Okay. So yeah, so like there's all different kinds of sugar, and it hides in everything. So this is where reading labels gets super important. So again, my question lies. What are you going to do to make this time, this, this information, like what are you going to do today to support your gut and your health overall when it comes to sugar? Maybe it's reaching out to me. You know that I'm here to help you, and I have the the openness, the willingness to help everybody right now. If you are one of those people who is sitting on the couch, binge watching Netflix, and just, because our whole world has twisted upside down, inside out, backwards, like all of us are suffering from this sugar craving, this I have to eat everything in my house, right? Even our kids are, I don't have kids, but sugar, the effects of sugar on children are just like outstanding. If you Google like the effects of sugar on children, it's like scary. Some of the things that it affects in our kids. And I keep saying our, like I have kids, but kids in kids as a whole on the planet. So yeah, maybe something you do today is something that can benefit you and your child. Have them watch this video. It will be available on YouTube and on Facebook. Let them know what sugar does to their bodies and maybe find some alternatives. Hey, you're at home. Do some research on some healthier options for recipes. Try some new stuff. Again, you're home. You can go to the grocery store if you have to. Like, get the things that will be exploratory and kind of like experimentation with foods and with sugar as a whole. So I am always here. Like I said, maybe the thing you do today is reaching out to me. Maybe you're in general, then what have you been doing that's not working? What are you going to do now that's going to make this time different? Maybe you need a little extra support. Maybe you need somebody to, provide the guidance and the support and the accountability. And us as health coaches, and yes, I'm representing today, that's what we do. We make habit change easy. We make the difficult things easy. And really, you can do hard things. You just got to believe in yourself. You just got to believe in yourself that you can, and you can. And really, like I said, there's no better time than now. Now is the time to invest in you, invest in your health and in your life, because like we've learned, sugar has an impact on our gut. And if it impacts our gut, it's impacting our immune system. And if our immune system is low, we can't fight off viruses. We can't fight off bacterial infections. And what we need right now is that immune boost. And I'm here to help you in any way that I can. And I'm here to help you and your kids. Like, I work with kids too. And like I said, when I looked up the detrimental effects of sugar, like on your kids, it was just outstanding what happens in their bodies. And really, sugar doesn't judge. It doesn't know if you're like a 10-year-old or a 30-year-old or a 70-year-old. Like, it's still affecting our bodies in these ways that brings our immune system down, and it brings our functions down. Like, our hormones are low. Oh, hi, Doogie. My Doogie. Say hello, Eleanor. Want to say hello? You say hello. Oh, sweet Doogie. Anyway, so yeah, the effects of sugar are just like insane. And the fact that it hides everywhere, the fact that it has all kinds of names, all kinds of like there's sometimes I'll pick up something that I've bought before, and I'll look at the label and things have changed. Like there's sugar in it that wasn't normally sugar in it. Eleanor, it's enough. Stop working. Okay. So I actually would love, this is what I want to do. Because sugar is such a dynamic topic, and because I don't want this video to get too long, and now because my dogs are barking. But anyway, like I would love to come back on here someday this week and do another episode, because this was really the last episode of this series. This is the Gut Goodies series, and I was closing out with sugar because it's so important. I would like to come back and do another one. I want to come back and talk to you about sugar and its effects on our children. I want to talk to you about how you can find it in your pantry products. I want to come back and talk to you about how to read labels so you know exactly what sugar is in your label, and if it's artificial, if it's not artificial. Like, would that be beneficial? Like, put in the chat if it would be beneficial if I came back and talked more about the practicality of sugar, how it's affecting your kids, and how you can navigate away from it in a safe way, but you're not losing the sweetness of your life. Would that be beneficial to everybody? Because I feel like there's so much more that I could talk about. But again, I don't want this video to go too long. So if you're on the live or if you're in the replay, please let me know. I'd love some feedback if you'd like for me to come back and talk a little bit more. And if you learned anything from this particular video, we covered a lot in the past 32 minutes of about sugar. So yeah, I would love some feedback, and I will be back to talk more about sugar, how it affects your kids, and how you can find it in your food products. And if you have any questions, I am here. If you would like to talk more about your particular situation, again, maybe you're in a space where you'd like some extra guidance, some extra support, reach out to me. I'm here. You can send me a PM on my personal or my business Facebook. I check both regularly. But let's boost our immune system. Let's knock the sugar out best we can. Let's fuel our bodies in the right way. Let's eliminate the inflammation. Let's eliminate all of the negative aspects of sugar. And, I'm here for you. So shoot me a message, send a comment, subscribe and share on my YouTube channel. And I would be happy to schedule you on my calendar for a discovery session and to see where you're struggling when it comes to sugar or anything lifestyle. And, I'm just here to help. So I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will be back in a few days for more sugar talk. All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye, YouTube.